So, Tom, Yvonne, audience, let's watch some video. Guys?
Sans cette aide d'Airware, beaucoup de difficultés à gérer l'avenir. Je pense aussi surtout à ceux qui arrivent demain, les jeunes, les habitués du smartphone et du pouce.
C'est-à-dire qu'on avait un géomètre qui partait avec sa mire et qui passait sur l'ensemble des stocks. Et puis le second problème, le temps de traitement des données. Et le temps d'acquisition sur 5 jours.
Aujourd'hui c'est plus le cas, tout est fait au drone, c'est vraiment un pas en avant.
Je pense que ça va changer notre façon de travailler, d'un point de vue purement carrière, savoir comment on va exploiter nos fronts, est-ce qu'on va revoir aussi nos pistes, largeur des pistes, hauteur des fronts, la mise en sécurité aussi de nos pistes avec nos libages, parce que c'est une information qui est disponible sur Cardinal.
Okay, so when we talk about the Internet of Things, we think of objects with sensors probably going up into a cloud, perhaps my own, somebody's, and that data being utilized to create efficiencies or better customer understanding, what have you. I want to level that up a bit in this discussion, though, because in a sense, what's going on a macro level here is we are deploying sensors to every point on the planet. And drones are a big part of that. Drones are a physical object, but they are a means to capture the behavior of all sorts of physical entities, put them in a cloud in some kind of database, and then model them to create new efficiencies. So, Tom, I'll start with you. Why don't you obviously spend a minute on what you do at Caterpillar and what Caterpillar does, and then the idea of how drones change the business.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I appreciate the opportunity to come up here and talk. You know, the video is a great way to segue and start the discussion. When you look at that mine site and you look at that truck, that's really what Caterpillar is known for, large, heavy earth-moving equipment, large mining trucks. Those trucks that you saw there, when they're big, right? And so when we talk about IoT, we're talking about really big things. That truck right there, in its payload, our largest mining trucks, you could fit about 200 of those Mercedes-Benz in the back of that truck. So it's a very large piece of earth-moving equipment. And as Quentin said, we are sensorizing those all the way down to our smallest equipment, to the point where we have about 560,000 machines out there right now feeding data back to us so we can gain insights on it.
Wow.
And what those insights allow us to do is, we focus on the machine, and certainly for Caterpillar, our being the leader in machinery and engines is our core and always will be, but that information starts to allow us to help customers at the site level. Right, we can start to infer things and learn things about the site just by sensoring out the machines, knowing the position, knowing the time, and that's a big part of what we do. Now, in mining trucks, we've taken that all the way to autonomy, but just on a normal site, it's really powerful what you can do to match the information coming off the machine to the information that Airware provides us with drones. So it's a good kind of synergy.
And one of the interesting things about that is that it's in some ways changed your business from creating machines that you then sell to customers to creating machines you sell, and then they are objects within a job site in real time,
right,
yielding information to the customer about their quarry, their construction
right,
project.
Right.
So there's a whole service level that gets created as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we call it Cat Connect Services, but to your point, we can help customers with productivity, equipment management, which
right,
is obvious, but then you get into safety. And again, when you're aware of the machines and the objects around the machines, and certainly with the drone data and information, you can really coach the customer on safety aspects as well.
I think that's one of the great insights of the IoT cloud world that's coming, is that we model more and more things as behaviors. And we can take these behaviors and create new stakeholders or run different scenarios inside them, create efficiencies, spot gaps, think of new service offerings. So you have a startup 3 years old, specializing in drones. How do you see the role of an Airware or any drone startup inside something like this?
Yeah, it's a great question. And what I've come to realize is the real power of drones is not the cool flying robots that they are, is that they're giving us the ability to digitize the physical world. And Tom touched on this a little bit. Like, if you want to drive efficiency in a mine. And if you think about a mine is this huge expansive space. It's ever changing because you're doing seismic activity, you're moving rock, you're doing all these things. How do you bring the digital era to that? It's all dirt, dirt and machines. And with drones, we're able to capture this imagery and create a 3D model that can be brought up in the cloud, it can be collaborated on, so we can work on it even though we're not in the same physical space anymore. But more importantly, we can integrate other data sources, so connect information, we can start looking at new information opportunities, and then AI and machine learning. All of a sudden you have a digitized version of the physical world, and all of today's technologies can bring new insights to it, so it's really incredible.
Now, I did know Airware originally as a company that was going to yield flying machines. You're positing it as flying machines as a means to selling AI services for a particular customer.
Yeah, so the backdrop on that, and I think everybody here knows that technology is advancing at an incredible pace. So 6 years ago when the company started, there was a customer of ours who duct taped an iPhone on a drone because the cameras at the time weren't good enough, but he wanted to measure stockpiles out of the air. If you look at the advancement on the hardware side, that's come so far along. And if you look at the advancement in clouds such as your own, like what you can do with these different technologies has changed. So we're looking at, one, helping companies do what they do today better, faster, cheaper, more safely. But to your point, evolving that to the next level. And so if I take a simple example, an easy thing to do is to measure a stockpile. It used to be, a surveyor, $1,500 an hour, you saw it in the video. Now it's a 5-minute drone flight. But more importantly, and I can let you or Tom talk about it, is you can look at the efficiency of these machines. A machine, and Tom and I were talking about earlier, like some of them, I believe, can use 60 gallons of gas in 1 hour. They're huge machines, and so how do you drive fuel efficiency and increase productivity at the same time? Those are the things that we can give insight to.
Yeah. So, Tom, your business changes to machines, but also services,
right,
as we said. Has that compelled you to look for third parties and startups because they have talents, they have capabilities, they see customers in different ways? What drives a company like Caterpillar to partner with a startup in something as important for their business?
Yeah, I think the amount of technology, and obviously this conference is a great testament to the amount of technology now that's not just going to consumer, but it's being driven into the industrial space as well. We want to seek out others that are trying to help solve our customers' problems. Our digital strategy, it's not to be a digital company and sell software, it's to invest in digital to make our customers more profitable and make our industries more productive. And so when you look at that site that you saw there, really it's an outdoor factory. And there's a lot of factors you can use to lean out and really optimize that factory. And one of it is the topology, right? The grade roads, how safe are they? Are they constructed right? Are the machines going to operate most efficiently to save fuel and be optimum, depending on the grade of the haul roads, the width of the haul roads? And so when we started to see what the drone technology could do, we immediately started to seek out those in the drone space that were interested in that technology or those industries. And Airware was kind of on the leading edge of a drone company that was really looking at deep subject matter expertise in that industry. So Yvonne, we kind of met at the customer.
Let's bring you into it. How does a startup that's learning it needs to be a software company, it needs to be AI, target something like a Caterpillar, which is so big? How do you get in and become successful with them?
Yeah, so it's a great question. And some people come to me and say, hey, I want a relationship with Caterpillar, can you help? Or how did you do it? And I think ultimately, similar to a lot of the talks going on here, it comes down to really having a true customer need and a great way to fulfill that need and being able to demonstrate from the customer into the partner what that value is. So our relationship with Caterpillar started well over 3 years ago, and it really was, to Tom's point, the fact that we understood their customers, their same customers, we saw how we could bring the value together. And so there was a win-win value proposition. And then we had to nurture that over time, because most big companies are a little wary of working with startups. They want to know that you're going to survive
Right.
the various stages. And so Caterpillar's been tremendous for us, but it's been a relationship really of building trust over the years. And we bring some things to them. We are an innovative player, and so we'll bring some big customers to Caterpillar and reframe Caterpillar's view, or their view of Caterpillar, and Caterpillar brings us into a tremendous number of opportunities
And
as
likewise, you want positive reinforcement, particularly early with an unknown company.
Right.
What sort of things do they bring you that just make sense right away? Like, you'll have better knowledge of your machine operations, something like that?
Well, you know, the technology itself doesn't help our customers. It's technology plus domain expertise, right? Really understanding how to apply the technology to make the customer's business more, more efficient and productive, et cetera. And what we really noticed is that Airware had that domain expertise, and we're helping customers, and then the simplicity of their user interface. I think that as we looked at a lot of different companies, there were a lot of companies that could do some of the stockpile management, some of the analytics, but understanding the customer and the simplicity of the UI, our customers were starting to come to us, with that and telling us how great the software was. And then you start to put that in with our Corey experts, and you can really make a lot of neat things happen.
I think that you've said something so important. When you're dealing with these large-scale field industrial situations, you're going to have guys who are high school dropouts, and you're going to have PhD geologists who are looking at the same data for different reasons. So the way they interact starts to become very important in the offering.
Yeah. I think the other thing that's important that Tom hit on is Caterpillar is really moving to become an innovative services partner. And so, in my time working with Caterpillar, it's been great to see how they've evolved to your point, Tom, from an equipment manufacturer to a full service provider of mining and quarrying efficiency and construction efficiency. And I think that's where startups can really help partner with Caterpillar, and Caterpillar can help guide them on how do we really create that right ecosystem to advance everybody.
Let's underline that a little bit, because it is such an interesting process, and I see it in IoT devices and I see it in cloud. It's this classic edge core dynamic in technology where, Cisco used to do this, right? They'd have local routers and they'd have big core routers, and the capabilities of one would increase and that would challenge the other. And the core would increase and the edge would get better. Now the drone has capabilities and it can take it into an AI system in the cloud. Initially, the customers kind of see cost savings. That's what you sell at first. And then they learn the capabilities of the software in other directions. Has that been your experience? And as you build up that edge capability, do you start to suggest more to Caterpillar, the customer, or to your various cloud providers about what they ought to do? Do you see this kind of levering up?
Yeah, so let me take a start at it, and Tom, I'll turn it over to you for the broader CAP perspective. What I've seen is people initially just replace what they do today physically with people with drones, and they capture information and they measure stockpiles, or they get pictures of haul roads that they can model. What we've found is, like one of our construction companies, they started off with the technology to look at cut and fills, and I'm pouring concrete, how's that going? They said, wait, we can understand the hydrology of the site. We can start to model how water might flow. We can do these more interesting things.
And the sell on that would be cost savings or risk management?
Well, it's productivity of the site. It's finishing the project on time. It's ensuring that you're not having faulty construction because water got in where it shouldn't.
Staying inside all their existing values, basically.
Yeah, but then you go from that and you say, well, wait a second. I can work more closely with Caterpillar and understand how the equipment's moving across, increase the benefit of that. We can interconnect their IoT data with our data geospatially and get greater insights. And then Caterpillar starts talking about the autonomous mine. And they're like, well, wait a second. If we have an autonomous mine, our haul roads don't need to be as wide. Right. And maybe we could save some of that and actually mine some of that as well. And so you start to create these new possibilities that, to your point, Quentin, you can model in the cloud and start to figure out new benefits. So, Tom, I know that you guys have been involving a lot. I don't know if you want to add on that, like on the autonomous mine front, but it's super interesting.
Well, yeah, absolutely. So we started our journey in autonomy in the mid-90s, and now we've got some of the largest mines in the world with large fleets of autonomous, fully autonomous mining trucks. And to your point, the machine has to interact dynamically with the site, right? So the digitization of that site is a big part of it. I mean, even without autonomy, we can take the drone data in real time and start to understand, what's happening, on the machine on a certain haul road. Is there a reason that the fuel consumption is going up? Is there a reason we're seeing more idle time in certain areas? And you can start to map that on the site and really start to see the behavior to coach, better operations overall at the quarry, which is where they can get big savings.
So what are some of the most important ways you think this has affected the way Caterpillar is creating products, offering services, and running itself, for that matter?
I think it's again, as a company, we've evolved from product to services, whether it's financial, rental, and now digital services. I think it's just an evolution to help you get closer to your customer and have more impact, helping your customer be successful.
I think it's true in tech and it's true in construction.
Absolutely.
People don't want, well, with some exceptions, people don't want big tractors. They want the result of the tractor. They don't want clouds, they want the result of computing.
Right.
We try to deliver that as close to the experience as possible.
Yep.
That's sort of where business is going. And to your point, the startup attaches itself by taking that mindset and saying, I see where you're going, I see who your customer is, I'm positing this is the experience they want to have, here's how I can help. And if you can offer that, then I assume you'll start to tutor them about the customer as well. They do this now, they'd like that as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So where does it go? Do you sort of find yourself now with new stakeholders, new partners? Do you find yourself thinking about adjacent industries? I know you're focused 100% on Caterpillar, but...
I'm very connected to Caterpillar. I love Caterpillar. What I would say is a couple things. I see it growing in a couple different directions. Certainly, from our standpoint, we're creating a cross-industry platform, and so the basic visualization and analytics at cloud, enterprise, secure, scalability, that's what we do, and that has applicability across industries. We also serve commercial insurance, property management. More interesting to me
I got to ask, how much talent are you going to need? How many different AI guys, different domains?
So a lot, and what I would say is what we're doing, and we've got two operations. We've got operations in Europe and in the US, in part to access a broader talent pool. But to your point, we build specialized modules on top of that platform for the expansion. The most interesting opportunity from my standpoint, however, is adding more types of sensors. So you can add sniffers and sonar, and you can really build out what's now, an image, digital image of the physical world to have all the different senses. We use thermal cameras, all of that. And then you can start to look at not just point in time, how do I compare, but you can start to think about doing predictive analytics. So start looking back at, decades worth of information to be able to, through machines, understand, okay, I should take this action next. So to me, what's interesting is not just the industry expansion, but expanding the number of sensors and things we can pull into the platform.
Right, you're redefining the site in a sense. This
Exactly.
is a physical event of dirt moving around or ores being mined. It is a financial event of investments being carried out for returns. It is an environmental or a regulatory event, and the thermal can catch some of that and maybe serve regulators.
Exactly.
So as you increase the number of servers and the amount of compute, you can start to define it in all these different ways. How about for Caterpillar? Where do you see this going next?
Well, we're going to continue to partner with companies that are interested, invested in our industries and helping our customers. We're going to continue to seek out technologies that can, make our industries more progressive and productive. So that leads to a lot of different technologies. I know we've got a little video to give it some impact in that, but it leads us to a lot of different ways.
We opened with a video. We got 1 minute. Run your video.
Your ambition for altering the fabric of the industrial world inspires what we create today and what we envision for tomorrow. Whether you're printing replacement parts or running an autonomous operation, everything we do to move you further. From bringing planet-friendly power to remote sites, to creating wearables that predict a safer future. From inventing lasers that drive heavy machinery, to drone fleets that survey entire operations. From putting augmented reality to work, to enabling NASA to build on the red planet. Every piece of iron, every limit pushed, every horizon reached, everything we create is inspired by what you want to build. Because the future belongs to those who build it.
I got a feeling this is not your last conversation with a startup.
There you go.
Tom, Yvonne, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Take care.
Okay, thank you.